Crete lived a cruel and powerful king by the name of Minotaur. People all over the Greek world feared his army and navy and paid the heavy fees he demanded just to be left alone. The people of Athens had to pay an especially heavy price. Minotaur's son had died on a visit to Athens, and he made the Athenians pay blood money to make sure this tragic event was never forgotten.
Every 9 years, the king of Athens, Aegeus, had to send 7 young men and 7 young women to Crete. Choosing those fortunes was agony because everyone knew what the horrible fate would be. In exchange for peace for the rest of Athens, those unlucky victims would be fed to a deadly creature owned by King Minos. Its name was the Minotaur.
The Minotaur had the head of a bull and the body of a human. It was huge and powerful and lived on a diet of humans that it hunted down. Because it was so deadly, Minos kept the beast in a massive maze known as the Labyrinth to make sure that it never, ever escaped.
The victims from Athens were brought to the labyrinth one by one and left until the Minotaur found them. Lost and confused, they never knew when they would meet their fate. No one ever escaped.
Your time is up. King Minos says that you must be prepared to give him the next batch of youth when he arrives tomorrow. He says that you're slow in choosing him. He will destroy Athens and take even more victims himself.
Is there no way out of this terrible bargain? To save our city, we must send our children to their deaths. But there's no choice. Quickly, we must hold a ladder and choose who must go to Crete.
Dad, wait. We can't just send these people off to die. They're the same age that I am. We have to do something.
No, my son. As long as the Minotaur lives and King Minos keeps on demanding his ransom, there's no way out.
Then send me as one of the 14. I know I can defeat the Minotaur and put a stop to Minos' game.
Sending these young people off to die is bad enough for me. If I lose you, my heart would break. Then Athens would be out its king and prince.
And I can win. With the gods on my side, I won't fail you or our people.
The king could see something in his son's eyes that gave him hope. He knew that the gods loved his son and would watch over him, so he let him go as one of the 14. Instead of wearing his royal armor, Theseus put on the simple white tunic as worn by the other 13 youths. He also gave back his royal ring that his father had given him. Now no one would know he was the king's son.
I watch you seize every day and night and pray that I see you heading towards home.
The next day, King Minos arrived to collect the victims. He gloated as the youths, including Theseus, were led onto the ship. Though Theseus stood tall, his companions wept as they left their friends and family, expecting never to see them again. The trip to Crete was dark and gloomy, but not for Minos. He enjoyed hearing the victims' sobs and mocked when he felt like it.
My pet is very hungry. It's been 9 years since we had some Athenians for dinner. This is going to be a splendid 14-meal course for my Polish friend.
Watch out, King Minos. The gods will punish you for putting us through this torture.
Oh, a rebel?
I know the gods are on our side.
Let's check this course. We've been chosen by a liar to become a human sacrifice. We've been abandoned by an abandoned family, and a one-way ride to a bullpen of a man-eating monster. Look at me. I'm a rich and powerful king. Wonder what side the gods are really on.
It's true you've had your fun, but soon it's going to be over.
Minos could see that this bold fellow was getting his crew nervous, and now with all this talk about the gods, it would look bad to kill Theseus right there. But Minos always had an evil scheme when he needed one.
Enough already of this talk. We'll have a test if the guys are really on your side. I'll throw one of my rings in the ocean. If God's favor you, you'll dive in and bring it right back.
Good deal.
Minos took a plain-looking ring off his finger and threw it into the sea. Like a shot, Theseus dove off the side of the ship to retrieve it.
Sail up, sails, let's get the ship moving.
But your highness, shouldn't wait for that youth to come back up.
He'll never catch up with our ship. We'd be leaving him here to drown. Oh, really? What a pity that would be. Anyone who doesn't obey my orders would be an appetizer for the Minotaur. Sail up, sails!
Under the waves, Theseus was beginning to regret his boldness. The sea was cold and dark, and his lungs were ready to burst. How could he ever find that ring?
But the gods did not forget Theseus. Just when it seemed he couldn't last any longer, he found that he could breathe underwater. Then he felt 2 things brush by on either side of him. Sharks! But they were dolphins, friendly dolphins, who had come to be his guides. Theseus grabbed hold of their fins, and he was pulled farther and farther into the watery deep. At last, he reached the realm of the Mer people.
Their caves at the bottom of the sea were filled with gold and silver treasures taken from sunken ships. One merman swam up to Theseus, the ring already in his hand.
It's not such a beautiful ring. I can't see why you came all the way down here just to get it, but you can have it.
Thank you.
After that, the dolphins put Theseus on the tree, ahead of Minos' ship, so he was there to greet the king when the ship arrived. Minos was shocked, but said nothing except to order Theseus back with the other victims.
Chain him up with the others and bring them to the palace dungeon. If God's really on your side, they'll save you from the Minotaur. No one else can.
Ariadne, Minos' daughter, watched from her palace window as Theseus was left out with the other captives.
Oh, I wonder who that fellow is in front of the line. He seems so awfully brave for someone who's about to die. Oh, why does my father have to do these horrible things?
She fell in love with Theseus at first sight and promised herself that she would not let him die like all the others. Perhaps he can even help her escape from her evil father.
That night, while Theseus slept, Ariadne crept to the cell where Theseus was being held.
Wake up, but don't make a sound.
Did the king send you to torment me?
No, I'm Minos' daughter, but I want to help save you from the Minotaur.
Is this some kind of a trick?
Listen to me. No matter how brave you are, you'll die without my help. Even if the Minotaur doesn't kill you, you'll be trapped in the labyrinth forever. Here, take this ball of string and this sword. When they shut you inside the labyrinth, tie the end of the string to the doorway. When you move round inside, pull the string with you. If you're successful and defeat the Minotaur with the sword, then you can follow the string back to safety.
How can I find the Minotaur before it finds me?
The Minotaur is lazy. It thinks it can find its victims anytime it wants. It sleeps late. You must find one of the singing and surprise it. That's your only hope.
How can I repay you for your help?
Help me escape this island. I can't stand my father and his wicked ways.
It's a deal. When I leave this island, my friends from Athens will take you with us.
The next day, smiling and singing Minos visited the Athenians in prison.
Look out. Your time has come. Any volunteers for the first round?
Let me be first.
I couldn't pick a better volunteer. Bring him to the labyrinth at dawn tomorrow. Let's start 14 days of feasting. With our little agreement with the Athenians.
Theseus was brought to the entrance to the labyrinth just before sunrise the next morning. There, he stopped and turned to address Minos one last time before entering.
This bloodshed will end, and Athens will no longer feed the Minotaur.
Then he was shoved inside a maze and a door slammed behind him. The other victims had to be forced at its sword point into its scary past. Theseus seemed almost glad to be entering the labyrinth.
I must say, I've never seen such a willing sacrifice. We're relieved. Now that Troublemaker is gone, I can deal with the others.
Theseus didn't forget what Ariadne had told him. He had hidden the sword and string under his cloak, and while talking to Minos, had secretly attached the string to the end of the maze's doorway. Now he was ready to move inside.
Following the low rumble of the Minotaur's snores, Theseus stumbled ahead as quickly as he could until he was near the beast. As he inched closer, the Minotaur opened his eyes and jumped up.
They fought a fierce battle. With his bare hands and his sword, it was a miracle that Theseus was able to hold his own against the beast, let alone get the better of him. The deadly showdown finally came to an end. Theseus killed the horrible beast, taking his sword in its chest and thanking the gods for their help.
Following Ariadne's string back through the maze, Theseus was able to find the path back to freedom.
Ariadne, I won.
I want to believe it, but I still can't. How did you get past the guards at the entrance to the labyrinth?
They were asleep when I came out. I guess they never expected anybody to walk out alive. Let's get the rest of the Athenians to get out.
So they gathered the other Athenians and sailed for Athens.
I see a ship heading from Crete.